boxing in Moscow. And this has been the scene that has carried through the day. The Soviet boxer's hand being raised. 7 bouts, 7 Soviet wins. Hi, everybody. I'm Al Troutwig at the Olympic Sports Center in Moscow. And if you're an American boxing fan, I wish I could have a more optimistic greeting, but things don't look very good right now for the American boxing team. The Americans bring in a young, inexperienced team, and that inexperience is showing. None of the boxers on the American team had been to the Soviet Union before. The Soviets, well, they've got a world champion on their roster, a couple of European champions, plenty of World Cup champions, and overall a lot of talent. Here is a recap of what has happened today. Jose Areola, first bout, 106 pounds. 17 years old from East L.A. Alexander Makhmutov gave him a right to remember and a defeat to forget. Second bout at 112 pounds. Richard Duran, 19 years old from Sacramento, California, had little defense against Sergio Fimsev. Another unanimous decision. Third bout at 119 pounds. Clay Jenkins, a likable kid from Franklin, Tennessee, was able to do little to stop Albert Kazanyan. 3 straight for the Soviets. In the fourth bout, Chuck Richards, 125 pounds, his first trip out of the United States. Samson Khachaturian of the Soviet Union did not offer a warm welcome. 132-pound Stanley Longstreet celebrated his birthday on the way to Moscow, but he did not celebrate once he got here. Orzabek Nazarov defeated him in a split decision. Then it was Nick Kourouris, the U.S. amateur champion who had come in with so many dreams. The 20-year-old from St. Louis, Missouri, was fighting Vasily Shishov. He was 25 and had more experience, and it showed. And then it was to bout number 7. Frankie Lyles from Syracuse, New York. A tall boxer at 6'3", showed no offense. And Israel Kopkokyan, who was a World Cup champion, was a winner again. On the replay, you'll see the strong right of a Kopkokyan, which gave the Soviets their 7th straight victory. And the Americans' worst dream was being realized. And so now here is Timothy Littles of Flint, Michigan, trying to snap that Soviet winning streak. This is the second round after a first round that was relatively even. 156 pounds, and Akulov, another one of the Soviet boxers who has a wealth of experience at 26 years of age. He comes from Gomel in the Byelorussia region of the Soviet Union, and 2 years ago was the Soviet champion. He is now a gym teacher. Littles, the 1985 U.S. amateur champion. He has the credentials and the skills to pull off a first U.S. win right here. He was extremely nervous. Oh, a big right by Akulov, and he follows up with a tremendous exchange. Littles flashes the gloves as if to say, I'm still ready. But a big left by Akulov that snuck through the defense of Littles. And Littles is staggered. Referee Bilikton Baranikov of the Soviet Union breaks the boxers. Akulov sensing something here. That right got in there. Littles has the gloves up, but they have nothing behind them. They are unable to stop this barrage. And down he goes. A big hit by Akulov, and Timothy Littles looks dazed. The standing 8 count in this, the second round. And now, Baranikov walks over to the ropes. I believe he is talking to the jury. Now, there are 3 judges at ringside here. We're using the 20-point must system. Roosevelt Sanders looks confused. I don't blame him. There are 3 judges, but they are not seated where Baranikov, the referee, is discussing things over the ropes. Littles was very nervous yesterday when I talked to him, thinking ahead, and now Baranikov is, I believe this fight is over. It is. Littles can't believe it, neither can the American corner. This fight has been stopped. The referee stops the contest at 1 minute 10 seconds. Akulov gets a kiss from his corner man at 1 minute 10 seconds of the second round. Littles really did take it.
I was successful. In the next national tournament I fought in, I won, and I dedicated it to him. And I feel that his death, in a way, motivated me, wanted me to win more. I think of him every day.
Who would you dedicate this one now, tomorrow, this trip to the Soviet Union? Who would you dedicate it to?
Myself. I'm here for myself this time.
So you paid the one debt. Now you got to pay the other.
That's right. I owe it to myself.
So now you know the Moscow mission of Darren Allen from Columbus, Ohio. His mission, by the way, is well underway. This is the second round in his middleweight 165-pound bout with Ruslan Taramov of Grozny in the Soviet Union. Taramov and Darren Allen, both 21 years old. In the first round, things were relatively even. Darren Allen used the ring well, although the scoring advantage, I believe, went to Taramov. It was, however, a breath of fresh air, an American almost holding his own on the verge of winning the round. And that's something we haven't seen very much of. 8-0, and perhaps a low blow there. Allen dropped his guard following what looked to be a low blow from my seat, and then got hit with a 1-2 combination. Bill Wackerly of the United States, the referee, did not acknowledge the low blow. And now Allen's mouthpiece has fallen away. That will stop the clock, and Roosevelt Sanders grabs the water bottle to rinse it off, and we should be restarted in a moment. Strange on what seemed to be a clear low blow that Wackerly did not acknowledge it at all. At any rate, the second round moves along, and up against the ropes, taking a pretty good beating to the head and the body is Darren Allen again. Taramov in close, and that's where he's scoring. Darren Allen told me yesterday about his left jab, his most confident punch. He's got a lot of reach in that left arm, and unfortunately, Taramov is not allowing him the space in the ring to use it. You saw there the long poking left. That's how Allen likes to use it. But he hasn't been able to get close enough to put any authority behind it. Past the halfway mark of round two. Allen perhaps hanging on, getting a breather. Roundhouse right that glanced off the defensive shields of Taramov. That left got in there. And perhaps that left as well. A left-right combination. Best point of the fight for Darren Allen. Another left, a wild right from Taramov, and Allen is there to fill it up with a big right. This is the best that an American boxer has looked today in Moscow. And now it is a sluggish, seemingly tired Darren Allen. Taramov doesn't exactly look raring to go either, but he has at least visibly more energy than Darren Allen. See Allen trying to hang on again as he did a minute ago. Deflecting punches from both boxers. Oh, those body blows will take their toll on Allen, and he gets a snapping left, but Bill Wackerly, the referee, is saying to Taramov, don't hit after the break. He's already done that once in the bout, the warning to break clean to Taramov. Round two, and a pretty good effort by Darren Allen. Of the 165-pound middleweight bout between Ruslan Taramov of the Soviet Union and Darren Allen of Columbus, Ohio. It has been close so far. The United States trailing 8-0 in this dual meet, and Darren Allen gets tagged early in round three. That brings the crowd to life. Remember, Allen, when he was 10 years old, came across a man by the name of Bill Cummings, and for a decade they developed a relationship of respect and of love and of boxing. Cummings is now gone, and Darren Allen is trying to go it alone. U.S. amateur champion trying to forget and perhaps avenge a little bit his knockout at the hands of Valery Laptev in the Soviet-American dual meet last year. And this third round may be his best opportunity to do that and stop the Soviet winning streak. Round one, a relatively even affair, and round two also could be considered fairly even were it not for a strong series in about 15 or 20 seconds where Darren Allen really developed himself with a series of good connections. But here he is in trouble, back to the ropes. And this hanging on again draws jeers from the crowd. Allen does look tired. Taramov doesn't exactly look 100% in terms of energy either. Now Taramov has been cautioned twice hitting after the break. I believe that motion by Wackerly was similar. After the break, he almost pushed Darren Allen through the ropes. If there has been one thing plaguing the American, it has been the relentless pursuit of Taramov. Just when Allen there again, making a clean break, says Wackerly, the referee. Oh, that one stunned him. Darren Allen took a hard shot to the head, standing 8 count in the 3rd round. I was saying the pursuit of Taramov has been amazing. Just when Allen seemed to gain some space, Taramov was right back in his face again. This crowd sensing something. Again, Allen against the ropes. Trying one last exchange. Maybe he has that one United States victory in his gloves. Less than a minute to go in round 3. Now they're both trying to hang on. And now another unclean break, I guess we'd have to say, and Bill Wackerly suggests to the judges, all 3 of them, that they take a point away from Taramov. Left, they both are tired. A lot of punches in this bout. Final seconds of the 3rd round. Time to remember the warning issued by Wackerly against Taramov and that strong 2nd round by Darren Allen. And the bottom line, who is the winner? Darren Allen and Ruslan Taramov at 165 pounds. A stirring 3rd round. Darren Allen with that slapping right, but the big follow-up left that resulted in the standing 8 count. A major nervous moment for Roosevelt Sanders. He's down by 8. And he's down by 9. The scoring goes 2 judges to 1. Taramov the winner. And the United States is still winless through the middleweight division. But without question, the best showing so far. The U.S. amateur champion, Darren Allen, in front of a crowd of 10,000. Not winning this one for himself. He'll have to do that one on another day.
Fighter, I did give him all, and I'm not a quitter, so I'll be back.
Well, you have 2 more chances perhaps here in the Soviet Union. What did he do that gave you problems?
He's very, very strong. And the Soviet fighters, their style is a little bit different because they paw with the left jab, and we're not used to that inside our country. So it's just an experience. Sometimes I'm going to take it. I want to win this real bad, but I'm not a quitter, and I'll be back.
And so will the 3 remaining American boxers a little bit later. The American balloon full of dreams has 9 holes in it. The question is, how hard will 21 years old and a World Cup winner in 1985, the opponent. And the question of Hauser is the question that we've been asking of the previous 9 boxers for the United States. Who is going to win? And will it happen at all? Hauser is a married man in San Diego, has a 4-year-old boy, and finished 2nd in the U.S. Amateurs last year. He prides himself on being good at adjusting to the situation. So many of the boxers have had trouble with the Soviet boxing style. We will see just what an adjuster Nathan Hauser is. We are using the 20-point Musk system with 3 judges seated at ringside. 20 points must be given to the winner of each round, 19 or less to the loser. Round 1 of 3. Light heavyweight division, 178 pounds. Not much happening in this opening stanza. That left, just off the chin of Hauser. It'll keep him very, very honest. Crowd waiting for something to speak up and cheer about. couple of wild lefts. That combination got in. Hauser in trouble. And his gloves are right up there. That did hurt him. Roosevelt Sanders wondering if it could possibly be worse. Down 9-0. This is bout number 10. Hauser tries the combination, but again, the defensive skills are something that have really impressed me here in Moscow. And they have over the years as well. 37th duel meeting. Soviets have won 28. United States 6, and there have been 2 draws. Hauser with the weird motion on the right hand, or lack of motion, I should say. He keeps it poised, waiting for an opening, trying to probe with that left. Now again, trying to cover up on the ropes, and Shanavazov is taking the opportunity to just tee off and wail away. .30 seconds to go in round 1, and there's a problem under Hauser's right eye. There seems to be blood and a little cut under Nathan Hauser's right eye. Whether he knows it or not is a different story, and he desperately tries to cover up, takes those 2 punches, and now Vladimir Gordienko, the referee, gives him a standing 8 count, and you can see the bloodied face of Nathan Hauser. Also some blood coming out of his nose, it looks like. And that awkward style of Shanavazov comes right back at him. Hauser just trying to cover up, and now goes down at the bell to end round 1. Standing 8 count for Hauser. He has his gloves raised to show the referee he's still ready to go, but a nervous glance to the corner, and this bout is over. The referee has stopped this bout in the opening round, and it is 10-0. You can see that deep cut under the right eye of Nathan Hauser. Shanavazov from Makhachkala in the Soviet Union keeps that record going. And there's a hard right. And another one. Hauser desperately trying to cover up. At this point, his eye must have been hurting. And down he goes in a heap. Only 2 bouts to go now. And a shutout seems like a very scary possibility. 10-0, the situation does not seem to be getting any better. The most acclaimed Soviet boxer is now in the ring.
Александр Егоркин, Советский Союз.
In the 11 years Alexander Yagubkin has laced up boxing gloves for the Soviet Union, he has achieved more titles and honors than perhaps any other current Soviet fighter. The 25-year-old Donetsk native goes about his sport with the practiced ease and confidence of a world champion, whether during a training session or in the gray light of road work in the Moscow morning. He is aware of his position in the Soviet sport and proud of what he has accomplished.
I'm certainly glad. This is something I wanted. First of all, I'm not the only one who's glad. There's also my family, my friends, my parents. Soon, if I go on winning, my son will probably begin to be proud of me too as he grows up. It's really a great feeling when you win. It really feels good.
Alexander considers today's match against the American team a very important one, for more than purely athletic reasons.
They have always been important and necessary. Today they are simply indispensable. There should be cultural exchange between our 2 nations. There should be sports meetings like this one. We should be traveling to your country. Athletes from your country should be coming to us. And so through this exchange we must come to mutual peace, friendship, to understanding each other.
He feels these boxing exchanges will help understanding between the United States and the Soviet Union, but he will never understand the movie character, Rocky.
It's very cruel. This isn't sport. Generally, professional sport is a complicated thing.
Alexander's parents were both hard-working coal miners when he was growing up. He has maintained their work ethic. He has developed a sensitivity and a love for his child and his wife. But don't mistake any of it, because if you drop your guard, he'll knock you out. This is the second round in the heavyweight division with Alexander Yagubkin, the 1982 world champion, taking on Orbit Pugh, 20 years old, from Miami, Florida. And watching it along with you from ringside at the Olympic Sports Center, I'm Al Troutwig. Opening round with Pugh having held himself well through the first, and that is even more surprising when you consider his status on this American team. Jerry Goff was supposed to be here for the United States, but just before the trip, tendinitis in his shoulder developed. Pugh was very skeptical, as was his family, about coming to Moscow in the Soviet Union. He was one of those who thought kidnapping might result, but here he is anyway, giving it his best shot. The U.S. trailing 10-0. Pugh's timing couldn't be worse in trying to break the string. He's going up against, as we've said, the most acclaimed Soviet boxer in the arena. Pugh was second at the National Sports Festival. Interestingly enough, he decisioned Jerry Goff in the semifinals at the Sports Festival. And he had one win against Nikolai Senturi and one loss against Ramzan Sebiev in the USA-USSR Heavyweight Invitational in 1985. Pugh has not gambled at all, and he has given Yagubkin very little to aim at. Yagubkin tried that right, but it glanced off the defensive block of Pugh moments ago. You'll notice that Yagubkin is not light on his feet. He has not won all that he has won by dancing around the ring. He is a boxer of tremendous power and deceptive quickness. Quick exchange, a couple of those snuck into the face of Orbit Pugh. Just about midway through round two. And now there is blood on the face of Alexander Yagubkin. Whether it is a cut from him or just blood that has been exchanged from somewhere else on one of the boxer's bodies, I cannot tell. But there is blood dripping from the nose of Alexander Yagubkin. What a development this is. And Yagubkin with a solid body shot just at the point of the break, signaled by Elmo Adolf of the United States. And now Adolf goes in with some gauze to give a closer inspection to what is indeed a cut on the bridge of Alexander Yagubkin's nose. Now, I don't have to tell you how tenuous your presence in the ring is in amateur boxing when you have a facial cut. The referees think very little about stopping a fight and promoting your own safety. So here we are with Orbit Pugh having cut Alexander Yagubkin and displaying some very steady skills in the ring. We saw another good defensive move by his left hand and blocking that right by Yagubkin. Final few seconds in round one. Silent, slow stalk of Orbit Pugh draws an ooh and ah from the crowd. Told you how important the family life of Yagubkin was. Orbit Pugh is engaged to be married in May. And there you can see that cut sending blood onto the face of Yagubkin again. We approach the end of round two, wondering how much that cut will affect things in the third round.
Ring, I was always extremely afraid. More so that all the things that I did was on instinct. I was so fearful. I would never shake or anything because I was able to control my fear, but I would think that, will I freeze? But the moment the bell would ring, I would become like a maniac.
Developments today in Moscow. The first, of course, is the 10-0 lead the Soviets hold over the USA amateur boxers. The second is that Alexander Yagubkin enters the third round against Orbit Pugh in this heavyweight bout with a cut over his nose. Yagubkin, the heavy favorite with all his credentials, and Pugh, the last-minute addition to the USA team. And now Pugh must be thinking, get to that cut and get to it quickly. While Yagubkin and Pugh boxed relatively closely in the first and second round, I think the rounds were clearly Yagubkin's. And so the victory by Pugh would have to come with the referee stopping this contest, perhaps as a result of that cut near the eye of Alexander Yagubkin. But Yagubkin not staying back and doesn't look like he's favoring the protection of that eye. You can see the blood there again, although not as much as there was in the second round. His treatment in the corner must have been effective, and he sends Pugh up against the ropes with that hard left. So compact in style And he builds all the power in the world up into those punches when he throws them. That left by Pugh got in there, and I think it hit the nose of Alexander Yagubkin, but he did not flinch. Past the halfway mark now, the third and final round. Strangely, Orbit Pugh does not seem to have the spark and fire I thought he would have in this final round. He is respecting the talent of Yagubkin quite clearly. Couple of probing lefts. Almost a lethargic pace right now, and of course Yagubkin's not willing to go out on the limb to gamble anything. And as well, he will not back off to protect that nose. He's much too proud a boxer for that. Pugh in close where I think he could do some damage. But he has trouble getting that close. Elmo Adolph, the American referee, says to Pugh, keep the blows up. This arena pretty quiet for the fans' favorite boxer. You heard the cheer they gave him when he was introduced. I doubt very many know that Yagubkin's nose is cut. It's such a small cut beyond the 9th or 10th row, I don't think you can see it. Less than 30 seconds now, the final round. And a left got into the face of Orbit Pugh. The aggressiveness just has not been there for Orbit Pugh in this round. And the blood now, again, off the nose. But it was the defense of Yagubkin that saved the cut. There it is, the heavyweight bout complete. And Orbit Pugh raises his hands as if to say, I've got this one. Fans in the Olympic Sports Center talking things over. They know this victory for the Soviets would make it 11-0. Here's the official announcement.
Победу в этой встрече одержал Александр Ягубкин, Советский Союз.
It is an incredible, humiliating 11-0 count for the Soviet boxers.
Призы боксеров.
Orbit Pugh raised his hands. He thought maybe he had it, but he did not.